Hello, boy. Call Chat again. Today I'm here to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Rule review. Now, for anybody who knows me in real life, I take it you guys don't know about this because I only introduced into Yu-Gi-Oh! Not for too long ago, but for Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans out there who already know, you don't have to watch it, but if you do, just go right ahead. I'm here to tell about the new rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, again. Now this, I would say shocked, because first, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was in year 7, so when I was 12, because I'm 15 now, so in United Kingdom, I'm in year 10, and back when in year 7, I was 12, that's when I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And yep, but then that's when the rules were sort of similar, just Xyz monsters existed, so I growed up with Xyz monsters, and that's why I like using them. I got powerful strategies out of them. But I don't think it will work out much now these days, thanks to the new rules that came out. About first rule, about everybody knows about the Pendulum summoning, so I don't need to really talk about that. But the main rule to talk about is the draw. Because when you remember, if you guys remember, from the first ever series of Yu-Gi-Oh, from the first time Yu-Gi-Oh has been released, the rule stays by one of the rules that always stayed was the sum of every time it's your own turn, you draw a card, including the first turn. Including the first turn. But now, I think they now changed it that on the first turn you can't draw a card. So the players going first can't draw a card. Now, I would say that gives it a big disadvantage. Now, usually when you go first, you actually have advantage to, set spells and drag cards down. But there's only one problem. When you draw, you end up getting the bad cards. Usually on your first turn, every time you draw your 5 cards, fortunately you notice those 5 cards will be bad. Until you bring out your 6th, until you draw out your 6th card. Which, it actually changed your bad hand into a very good hand. But when you go first, now without drawing on your first turn, then it's going to be a big disadvantage because sometimes your spells and trap cards won't work as well. Now there are some monsters I use on my first turn that I like using. And I tell you, I definitely have a hand when I use them. I can tell you guys that to summon my Xyz monsters, this is how I do things. First, I can summon my Gaga Magician, or my Goblin Bird, or my Trident Warrior. Those 2 cards I need to start out summoning first. Because I now can, thanks to some abilities. For Trident Warrior and Goblin Bird, they help me, when I summon those 2 monsters, they help me special summon a level 3 or level 4 monsters. Lower. So, like Goblin Bird, when you normal summon it, you can special summon a level 4 or lower monster. And that means I can special summon a level 4 monster, if I want to. And it could be Gaga Magician I want to, or another level 4 monster. Or then I can also for Trident Warrior, he can only special level 3. But as I got Shiny Knight, I can put Shiny Knight in any mode when I special summon thanks to Trident Warrior's ability. I'm able to summon in defense mode, and if you guys know, Shiny Knight comes level 4 when he's in defense mode. And I can use them to Xyz summon one of my Utopias. Yep, that's what I do, usually. Then, with my Gaga Magician, the reason why I usually choose him to go first, because my other deck, because I have 2 decks that revolve around Gaga Magician, Goblin Bird, and Trident Warrior. Well, Trident Warrior is only in 1 deck, but Goblin Bird and Gaga Magician are both in 2 of my decks. This is for both of my decks, I should say. That helps me to see some Utopia majority of the time. And majority I usually use Xyz monsters in this deck. This one, I summon Gaga Magician. Then I usually special summon Kaito Kage. That's why I usually special summon him. Because, every time you summon, to special summon Kaito Kage, he can't be normal summoned. Even though he's a level 4, he can't be normal summoned. You need to summon a level 4 monster, then Kaito Kage can be special summoned from your hand. And that, but also I can then special summon Gagaga Child if I summon Gagaga monster. And Gagaga Child becomes the level of that Gagaga monster. In this case, if I summon Gagaga Magician, and I can special summon Gagaga Child, he becomes level 4 Gagaga Child. Now, from then I overlay them to Exceed Summon number 39 Utopia. After summon my Utopia cards afterwards, from any of my decks really, then I go to Chaos Exceeds Evolution Chaos number 39 Utopia Ray. That's what I usually do. And yeah, that's what I usually do. In my deck that holds my 3 Egyptian Guard cards, yep, I have 3 Egyptian. The originals I'm talking about. So then, this deck I can't use really in tournaments or anything like this. But my strongest deck would have 3 Egyptian card. I usually just kept Utopia Ray. But my other deck, when I want to summon, then I use the spell card Rank Up Magic Limited Variance Force to Chaos Season my Utopia Ray V or Utopia Ray Victory. That's what I usually do. Now, that means, overall, monsters I summon, I use 2 monsters from my hand. Yeah, I'm doing like this. I use 2 monsters from my hand. Then I activate a spell card from my hand. Then set into 1 card face down to end my turn. And it's usually a negator. And the negator cards I have are Magic Cylinders. And as a core, I've got 2 Magic Cylinders. Drain Shield. And I've got Mirror Force, which is not a negator, of course, but it's, well, helps me destroy, make my opponent's attack, helps my, not make my opponent able to succeed the attack, and also destroying the monster at the same time. But those are the cards I usually use to negate my opponent's attacks. But that means I'm only left with 2 cards in my hand. But thanks to the new rule, not drawing your first turn, then I got a problem. Because now it means I'm going to only have 1 card left in my hand. It's 2 is still low, of course, I admit that. But the strategy I go with, and only with 5 cards, that's going to decrease my hand even more to go to 1 card. And maybe one day I might end up having 0 cards in my hand, which is going to be a big problem with me, my duel. Because when you're dueling, the least amount of cards that make you at least have a chance of winning in your hand you could have maybe 3. And that is good, because that means thanks to having 3 cards, you still have a chance to win. But when you have 2, 50-50 chance of winning, but when you have 1 or 0, it's usually classified you might end up losing the duel. That's what I think. Because that's what usually happens with me when I lose my duels, because that's usually because I have less cards in my hand, so I have less chance to counter. But when I have at least maybe the maximum of 3 cards, and least amount of cards is 3 or maybe 2, that's why I got a chance to might end up winning. So anybody it's 2 or above, I have chance of winning the duel. But if it's below, 2 or below, then I might end up have a chance to lose because I have less cards in my hand. But there's a problem again. It was but now thanks to this rule, when I draw, I'm gonna have only a 50% chance of winning the cards I have on the field already. And because on the second turn of my turn, thanks to me keeping my Utopia Ray cards on the field, with my other deck I just have Utopia Ray, but on my other deck I have my Utopia Ray V or my Utopia Ray Victory. Which I can tell you guys, my Utopia Ray Victory is an ultimate rare from Judgment of Light. I got a good draw at that time, but still, yeah, and that's when I end up having my free cards in my hand usually. Next, I'll summon a level 4 monster. Yep, I was then summon another monster that can special summon monsters from my hand. Which in my case would be majority would be my again could be Golden Bird or Trident Warrior. And special summon the monsters I need. Or Gagaga Magician again and summon card and stuff like that. I was doing that again. I can now summon Utopia Ray, my Utopia, and another my Utopia. Because overall, I got 3 regular Utopias, 1 common, 1 ultra, 1 super, and then I got my Utopia Ray cards, Utopia Ray, Utopia Ray V, and Utopia Ray Victory. So I have 6 Utopia cards in my extra deck. 6 Utopia Ray cards. 6 Utopia cards in my deck. Extra deck. Now that means, again, it means I put myself to 1 card in my hand. Now that card is usually one I believe to help me keep myself in the game. It's going to be called the Haunted. Because that's the only revival card I own, and can summon monsters from my graveyard in my decks. So, basically, when I activate Call the Haunted, when it gets to my opponent, when I set my Call the Haunted down, my opponent goes and attacks me. Then I can activate Utopia's skill, or effect, also known as in Yu-Gi-Oh! Destroy and overlay it, negate your attack. If he's a normal monster, I can negate it attack again, but only twice. But majority of monsters you might end up having on his field normally will be 2, so I'll be safe. Then I can now have 3 monsters on the field. Then if I'm using my extra deck, that means I can now special summon. If I'm using my main deck, have my 3 different card cards, I can activate. When I draw, I'm gonna have 1 card in my hand, of course, because I have 0 cards. Then I can activate Call of the Haunted to bring in 1 of my monsters. Then from the graveyard. Then I can sacrifice those 3 monsters to summon my 3 Egyptian guard cards. So on my 3rd turn, I can summon my 3 Egyptian guard cards in my other deck. But look, in my deck with my Chaotic Z summon Utopia Ray or Utopia Victory. I could defeat my opponent on the 2nd turn. Yep, I could, because as my other deck has magic cylinders in it, I can negate my opponent's attack and give him damage. It means it's going to be below 8,000. Then I can activate. When it gets to my next turn, I'm gonna have 3 cards in my hand. Now I don't have to summon Utopia at this point, because I've already got Utopia Ray V or Victory, or Utopia Ray V or my Utopia Ray Victory on the field. Now, for Utopia Ray V, I can activate the ability, destroying and overlay it, destroying 1 monster on the field, and my opponent gains damage equal to its monster's attack points. Yes, and if that's the only monster on his field, yeah, he's available for attacking. But then me and my opponent might activate a trap card and negate my own attack. But then I can activate the spell card Double or Nothing, which is gonna be wicked, because by activating Double or Nothing, my monster can attack again, and my monster's power gets increased. Yeah, it gets increased by double of his attack points. So as Utopia Ray V will be at 2,600, he'll be at how can I put it? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 5,200 attack points. 5,200 attack points. 5,200? Yeah. 5,200 attack points he'll be at. Then when I attack my opponent directly, how can I put it? Like, as I got my Utopia Ray V or Utopia Ray Victory, my opponent will be majority under 5,000 attack power. So yeah, I know that. So, but I don't think he'll be actually really at maybe. And usually on the 2nd turn, he might just have maybe 2. And if in this situation we only have 200 life points left, or maybe something like that, that means they can survive. But then to give more chance to winning, I will activate Ego Boost to increase my attack points by 1,000. That means I just need another card in my hand. Instead of me leaving 1 card in my hand, of course, on the 2nd turn. Then, if I attack my opponent directly, I'll win the game. So that's what I basically called, because and I'm talking about attack wise, guys. Now, that means I got to 1 card. But if I'm using Utopia Victory, I don't really destroy my opponent's monster. And if he's in attack mode, then I'll be locked up. Means I can attack him. Then but I won't get a chance to activate his effect, maybe. But I can if I want to right straight away at that point. But when I do, I don't act. If he's going to activate Negator, then I plan on to activate his ability. But if it does, I can activate his ability, and his ability stays on them until the end of the turn. So his power will still be at the same. But that, and he will still have few life points left. Even I know if he needs his ability. But if he negates my attack, and he's got, thanks to his ability, but strong over there, when he attacks the monster, his attack, his effect is negated. Well, usually it's impossible because, wow, how will put Utopia Ray Vic? Because who plans on? Because Utopia Ray Victory special trap cost can't be activated and engage an attack. That's the problem. But then I could end up summoning Utopia Utopia again. So before I attack, I could summon Utopia again. So I can negate my own monster's attack, then activate double or nothing, attack his monster. And his ability is activated, so he gain extra attack points. But a load attack points. I mean, a load of it. Enough even his monster can't survive, and his life points will survive. But if he does survive, Utopia can just attack his life points directly, unless that trap card again is a negator, then he can survive. But if it isn't, I blocked out, so basically that's what I usually do. So on that deck, I could summon Utopia Ray. One of my Utopia Ray cards, I might end up winning on the second turn. But for my but for my Egyptian Guard cards, I might end up winning on the third turn. But yeah, but still, my hand gets decreased quite a bit in these duels. My strategy. But now, thanks to the new rules, I would say that now, thanks to drawing, you can't draw on the first turn. It decreased my chance of, well, now increasing my hand. Because now that means on my second turn, if I do the same strategy, summon my Egyptian Guard cards, or means I'm going to have completely 0 cards in my hand, more quicker than I usually do. So I'm going to have practically 0 cards, so that's going to be a disadvantage. I might end up being lucky, actually, winning the duel at that point. That's why, thanks to these new rules, I think my strategy is going to more work now on the second turn. But it's going to be less effective now. So, but I think I think they just, okay, I admit it. I think they mucked up. I think they should not have taken away that rule of can't draw on the first turn. Because that's unfair for the duelists who have strategies that revolve around drawing. It's a big disadvantage for them. You want duelists to have a chance of winning, but in this situation, to your dueling style, their skills, you might end up getting some pros, losing like amateurs. I believe that this kind of new strategy of not drawing the first turn might decrease the pros of dueling, getting there, make them look like amateurs. Yeah, I think thanks to this new will make them look like amateurs now, because I don't know why, but that's what I believe in is going to happen. But if it doesn't, okay, I stand corrected, I would say. But yeah, I would say it would just ruin pro duelists' lives, because they've been used to drawing on the first turn, and it helps them a lot because drawing more cards gives you more chance of winning. Of course, I mean, until you have the maximum 6 cards. If you go over this maximum 6 cards in your hand, you have to discard some cards in your hand, which is a big problem. But still, it gives an increase of hand, so you have a chance of winning more, and also gets a more powerful. You're going to take, thanks to the not drawing the first turn, taking out, you're just basically taking out the main part of duelist strategies. Because the majority of duelist strategies always comes on the first turn draw. Yep. Your duelist strategies only come when the first person draws their card on the first turn. Now, thanks to the new rule, that kind of strategy can't be used anymore. Tons and I think nearly practically all the strategies now gone. You have to make, every duelist now needs to make brand new freaking strategies that can help with a low amount of cards in your hand on the first turn. So, in my opinion, I think it ruins duelists who are known for winning on the first turn. I think now you just made it impossible to, in my opinion, I think you just made it impossible for duelists to win on the first turn. And duelists to win on their 0 turns. Because, as you know, you can sometimes win a duel without having your own turn. So that is possible. But thanks to this new rule, it's sort of cancelized. It just stopped the original way of dueling completely. That's what I believe in. Now, Palential summons I'm not completely alright with, because, again, because I'm used to doing with Xyz monsters, and that means I've not been doing it for that long, so I don't have much reaction to the new rules. But the drawing, I knew that that existed in tons of card games for years and years, and I basically got addicted to drawing, hoping to get the cards I needed on my first turn. Yeah, all my cards, 6 cards in my first turn. Now that means if anybody wants to get the cards they need and get 6 cards in your hands, the best idea I would say in this situation, makes the new rules, hoping that you have some draw-based cards in it. Like, unfortunately, I know this card is banned, but this is one of the cards you can use when you're not in tournaments, maybe. But pot of green, how to draw 2 cards, so you have the cards you really need. So basically, you have 6. After you use. You have 4 cards, and thanks to drawing 2 cards, you have 6 cards in hand, and basically you're back to the cards you need. But that means you play more cards than you wanted to play. But in my opinion, just saying, for duelists like, for Exodia, oh my gosh, you just decreased Exodia's power. I know Exodia can win on the, but those Exodia decks out there that hardly have any monsters in, drawing, you could even win, you could use those decks and win on the first turn. Yes. But you just increase the power of them, because maybe in those Exodia decks you might end up not getting the draw-based cards. You might end up getting the safe cards to keep your cards safe that you need for drawing your cards. That is a big disadvantage. For Exodia-based decks, you just knock them out, because they need, Exodia decks need cards for drawing. Yes, of course there's spell and trap cards for it, but monsters, you might not end up getting the monsters that have that ability, and keep your life points safe at the same time. Big bummer. Because, playing dueling, you want duelists in your hand, you want your people who play Yugioh to have at least 1 monster, 1 spell, or 1 trap card in your hand at least, to make it fair for the duelists. But thanks to this new rule, I think it's going to decrease their chance of getting at least 1 monster, or at least 1 spell, or at least 1 trap card into their hand if they don't have enough. Because I say it decreased that chance of winning. It increases the second person going. It increases the second person's chance, but the first person, I think, is going to decrease them so much. This is my point. This is my opinion about the drawing of the new rule of drawing. So yeah, hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. I hope you guys do. But this is my own opinion. I also don't believe this hope this doesn't happen. But it increased that duelist chance. But in my own opinion, that's what I think is going to happen thanks to these new rules that for people who need cards to draw with. So yeah, hope you guys like this video. Comment, like, and subscribe, and leave it down in the comments below if you want to know what's your. I want to know your opinions. I want to know your opinions about the draw, the new not allowed to draw on your first turn. On the first turn rule. So leave in the comments below about that. And if you want me to do a pendulum summering review what I think about that, also put the comments down below, and I could do that video. So, I hope you guys like this video, and comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.